Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Stacy. I am so glad you decided to join me today. If you are new here, welcome. Please subscribe. I put out videos on how to help women who are unfaithful and men who are unfaithful recover from their affair. I am an infidelity coach and I offer one-on-one private sessions. If you would like more information on that, you can check the description box below. I will leave all the details in that box below. But today, I want to just do a casual video with you guys. It's not really a teaching video, but I want to share my story from beginning to end. Nothing left out, no in-betweens, completely transparent with you guys, because I believe that by sharing my story and sharing with you what I have gone through, it will help give you the hope that you can completely heal from infidelity, completely heal your marriage if that's what you choose, and go on and live a life that you are proud of and become a woman that you're proud of, become the woman that God created you to be, and just thrive after infidelity. I don't believe that infidelity is the end all of end alls. I don't believe that. I believe that you can get, it affects you, and I believe that it is a life-changing event that happens to us, but I don't believe that it has to be something negative. I don't believe that you have to stay in pain forever or, you know, feel like you'll never get past it, because I didn't. And I work with my clients every day and I'm watching them overcome it, and they're actually getting their life back. So today, I just wanted to share with you my story. So get some coffee or some tea. This might be a little long. I'm gonna try to condense it and not keep it too long, but I want you guys to know the full story. Okay, so in the beginning, after I got married, I married my first husband. I married him right out of high school. He was my high school sweetheart. We were married for about 7 years, but the whole time we were married, it was a very toxic relationship on both of our parts. But if you would have asked me back then, I would have blamed him. But that's a different story. I'm not going to get into a lot of details about, you know, his fault in the marriage, which there were a lot. And of course, there was faults that, you know, I did as well to drive him completely crazy. But long story short with that, we had a son. And around, I want to say like maybe around my 22nd birthday, something like that, my husband had done something that really upset me. And I'm not really a confrontational person, so I didn't let him know I was upset about it, but not to the extent where, hey, this really hurt me, but it really changed something in my heart towards him. And I became very passive aggressive, where I would say to myself, okay, so this is how you feel about me. I can so see how you feel about me. I'm gonna get you back, you know. And the way I did that was I decided to have an affair. So that was my first affair when I was in my early 20s. We started seeing each other. He was a mutual friend. We had been knowing each other for a while. And that affair lasted for maybe 6 months, and then our spouses found out because he was married as well, and we ended it. So we didn't speak for about 2 years. We decided to go back to our marriages and, you know, give them a chance to work out, you know, see if we can make it work. Well, 2 years after that, we ran into each other again, and we realized that our marriages had not changed and we was both still in the same place. So we divorced our spouses and we ended up marrying each other. So everything was great. He made me so happy. The relationship that I was in, my first marriage, was so toxic. I didn't know how to be happy anymore, and when I found myself laughing, it almost felt scary, because I had been so upset for so long in just this toxic relationship that it was unfamiliar to me to be happy. So we enjoyed our marriage. We had a great marriage. We started having kids. Well, I had a son previous, so we had him, and it was just him and my husband and I for 2 years, and then we started having other children. And just like with anything, you know, your marriage gets put on the back burner. He started working a lot. He went through some things himself. He had hobbies. You know, we had all this stuff going on, and I found myself starting to get really lonely and starting to have some familiar feelings that I had in my first marriage, where I felt alone. I didn't feel heard. I felt like I was being controlled. I didn't like the way the marriage was going. Things were it just seemed like we had become roommates. He would come home from work, do his thing. I was doing my thing. We wasn't really connecting. We didn't have date nights. We didn't have time where we would sit and talk together. We didn't do any of those things. We just basically lived separate lives, but in one house. And he really wasn't involved with the kids. He wasn't a hands-on dad. He didn't like to do outings with them or anything. I was mainly the one who would take them, you know, to the movies or to the zoo or the fair or whatever. You know, it was me and my friend, and she had her kids. So that was basically, you know, became my life, and I grew very uncomfortable with it over time. And, you know, I had started asking him, I said, okay, well, I want to have another baby. And he was saying, no, I don't want to have any more kids. And it wasn't really a discussion. It was more of, you know, control, and this, I make the rules. You know, we were Christians, so we had a little bit distorted view of what submitting to your husband looked like, and I felt like I was just being controlled, and he felt like he was the boss, and we weren't equal partners, and it just wasn't working out. Well, during that time, this was about 10 years into the marriage, maybe 8, or in between 8 and 10 years, I'm not 100% sure. But around that time, okay, so the guy that I had an affair with, I'm not going to give a lot of details. I'll just say he was in the medical profession, and he had been in our lives for about 2 years. So I knew him, I was familiar with him. Nothing had ever crossed the line. There was no flirting, no nothing for 2 years. And then when I turned 37, this was when the affair started, when I turned 37. So I just want to be clear. I want everybody to understand that my first one was in my early 20s, and my second one was when I was 37. So when I was 37, you know, around February, I went for an appointment, and I noticed that he had become a little bit friendly. You know, just something was just off. It was just a little out of the ordinary. I didn't pay attention to it. I think I was a little naive, and, you know, I just kind of blew it off. I said, I really don't think he's flirting with me. You know, why would he do that? You know, that type of thing. So I blew it off. But I remember thinking, you know, I like him. He's friendly. You know, he reminds me of home, like the boy next door. You know, we didn't grow up that far apart from each other. But anyways, so each visit, things got a little bit more friendly. You know, he became more flirty is what it was, and more interested in what was going on with me. Well, by that time, I was starting to pick up on it a little bit more, and it was starting to make me a little bit nervous in that I was liking the attention, but I was still resistant to the attention because I knew it wasn't right, and I didn't want to go in that direction, which I never really thought it would go into the direction of, hey, we're going to have an affair. I just thought, oh my gosh, it's, you know, okay, at the worst, it's just going to be some simple flirting, you know, harmless, nothing to it. You know, guys flirt all the time. It's no big deal, you know, that type of thing. So I kept that in my mind each time I would go. And I kept myself, okay, you know what, you're not gonna flirt with him. You're gonna go and you're gonna be professional. You're gonna act like a patient. And each time I would go, it got a little bit harder for me not to let him know that I was attracted to him, and that I had picked up on his, you know, flirtatious remarks or his advances. So I kept resisting, and then my breaking point was a family vacation that we had scheduled. So we went to the beach. My husband, our 3 kids, you know, we're at the beach. That's what we do every year. But this year was different. We have been arguing. My son from my first marriage had become a teenager, so we were blended family for sure. I mean, we were the whole time, but I really noticed the conflict for blended families kick up when my son reached teenage years, you know, so he and my husband had some conflict, and I was, of course, Mama Bear, standing up for him. But on that vacation, my son is not a beach person, so he really didn't want to go to the beach, so I was like, okay, but my husband didn't want to go. And I'm gonna tell you, this hotel or condo, whatever this was that we stayed in, was a nice place, okay, it really was. It had like, what you call that, like a water park for the kids, like, you know, just a splash pad, some slides and stuff. It was really, really cool. But I'm gonna tell you, it took a mile to get to the beach from our room, it seemed like. So one time, you know, my husband's like, I don't think I'm gonna go on the beach anymore. I don't wanna go out there, it's hot. So I was having, and you know, if anybody knows that has little kids and you go to the beach, you pack like a ton of stuff to bring to the beach. So I was packing all this stuff to the beach. It was hot, you know, and I was angry. At that point, I was angry because I was not telling him how I was feeling. I was not telling my husband how angry this was making me. I was keeping it all in. You know, I wanted to keep the vacation pleasant. I didn't want to fight for the kids. But that day, that last day that I had to go on the beach alone was a turning point for me, because I sat there, watched my girls play in the sand, and I looked around me and there was couples everywhere with their kids, you know, the mom, the dad, they were playing in the water, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I thought, oh my God, I'm alone. Like I'm married, but I'm alone. And it's almost like I'm a single mom, and I hate this feeling. And at that moment, fear just like rose up inside of me. And I guess it might have been anxiety at that point, because I was like, he's not listening to me. I've been praying about our situation for 3 years. God's apparently not listening to me. He's not answering my prayers. We're just completely distant. And this vacation really proved to me how far apart we had grown. And on top of that, my future flashed before my eyes, and I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna be alone forever. Like, my kids are gonna grow up, they're gonna have a family, and my husband is gonna be here in this house with me, but I'm gonna have to do life alone, you know, because he doesn't want to do anything with me or with the kids. So I had enough. At that point in my mind, I was done. Like, I was done. I'm like, this is it for me. I can't do this anymore. If he wants to live alone, it seems like he truly wanted to be single, then he needs to be single. But I never told him any of these things. It was just stuff that I was telling myself. It was just the way I believed it. That's how I saw it. So anyways, when we got back home and I had another appointment, I made sure that he knew I was interested in him. And once that period, that time, that crossed the line, once I crossed the line, that was it. It opened up a whole new door. We began texting each other, you know, maybe like once or twice a week. Then we started talking to each other on the phone. We started meeting in casual places. Then we met at his office. Then we met at a hotel. I mean, and then it just spiraled out of control. It became a full-blown affair, and I thought this guy was my soulmate. I was like, oh my God, he gets me. And the thing with him is he liked me for me. So I could be me, I could say crazy things, you know, I could be silly, I could be whatever I want, you know, whoever I am. And he liked it, and he was fine with it, and we had this extremely strong connection. And I had convinced myself that I never felt this way about anybody before, and I couldn't get past this connection that we had. It was amazing, and I loved it. And I didn't want to give it up. He had become my best friend, and we shared, you know, I lost a loved one, he lost a loved one, we were there for each other, so we just bonded over a bunch of different things. The affair lasted almost a year. My husband found out midway of the affair, and we started going to therapy. I really didn't want to go to therapy, but we started going to therapy, and she suggested that we separate. So we did an in-house separation where he stayed in another room and I, you know, stayed in our bedroom. And during that separation time, I needed to decide what I wanted to do. Did I want to stay with my husband? Did I want to go with my affair partner? And I will tell you, I had tried to end the affair, because at one point while we had the separation, I was thinking, oh my God, if I was single, I would not date this guy. Like, he is so wrong for me. Like, there were tons of red flags, and he just wasn't the person for me, but I felt stuck to him, like addicted, like I could not leave. So I tried to end it several times. I failed completely. And all in that time, I'm trying to decide, do I leave? Do I stay? Do I go? Like, what's going on? And I'm still a Christian, you know, but I'm not praying. I'm not going to church. I'm starting to get angry with God. I'm starting to blame everybody except myself, because I was responsible. I made a choice, you know, and I didn't see it at that time. But anyways, so fast forward a little bit. I had an impression that the Lord was telling me, hey, if you want me to get you out of this situation, all you have to do is ask me. And if you ask me and you come back home, I will make all things well. And that was his personal word for me. So one night I had got off the phone with my affair partner, and I was in so much pain because I was like, this affair is becoming so painful. It's worse than it was in the beginning. It's not bringing me joy, the whole 9 yards. So I said a prayer and I asked God, I'm like, okay, God, I don't know how you're gonna get me out. I've been trying to get me out. I can't, just get me out. Did I really want to leave? No, but I knew it was best for me to get out, and I trusted God enough to know that if he promised things would be better, then he would fulfill that promise for me. And I knew I didn't want to be in a relationship with someone who was not good for me. Not that we didn't have a connection, not that we didn't have things in common and we got along and we were just like the best of friends, because we were. But in reality, he wasn't good for me. I wasn't good for him. So a week later, I ended the affair, and I can't believe I did it. Even to this day, I'll tell my clients, God gave me the strength to walk away. So we ended it, and I had one relapse. I called him one night after I drank some wine, and I probably shouldn't have done that, but that's why I'm like, don't drink when you end an affair, because you do things you don't want to do, and you set your recovery back so far. But anyways, the affair was over. I didn't contact him anymore after that, and to this date, it's been 10 years. We haven't spoken. I'm better now. I do not blame my husband for the affair. I take full responsibility for my choice to have an affair. But during my recovery, I really learned about where my wounds were, why I was doing the things I was doing, because 2 affairs, I'm like, okay, girl, you got to get it together. Something's wrong with you. Yeah, these men might have some problems, but you're not handling the situation right. So I really went on a journey to discover who I was, become self-aware, to grow and become the woman God had created me to be, start living a life that I was proud of, and become the woman I was proud of, because I wasn't proud of me. I had guilt, I had shame. I felt like I was torn in two between 2 different men, and then between shame and guilt of knowing that this is wrong, God doesn't like this, I shouldn't be doing this, all of that. So it was definitely a relief at first when it was over to have all of those things come off my chest. But recovery definitely takes work, and it's not just about getting over the affair partner. It's really about learning who you are and how you can become the woman you really want to be. Now, during my recovery, it lasted about, my husband and I, we would say it lasted about 6 years, because one time, it doesn't have to last that long, and it probably was over for him. He was good after 2 years. He had, you know, the relationship was pretty much set, you know, back to a new normal, but we wanted to build a new marriage, so we just kept going and learning each other and learning new tools and stuff. So one day we looked at each other and we were like, oh my gosh, I think it's over. And he's like, yep, it's over. But around that time, probably around 7 years after the affair had ended, God really started to put on my heart, hey, I want you to help other people who have an affair, help them learn how to grow and heal from this and come out of this and thrive in life and become the person that I created them to be, you know, go for their purpose and completely heal. Because I noticed that there is something that, you know, goes around in affair recovery world, that you don't necessarily completely heal from this, whether you're a betrayed spouse or a wayward spouse, and that's just not true. I believe that you can completely heal from it. I believe you can have a better life, have a better marriage, but it's really all up to you. And, you know, some people choose not to stay, and that's fine. That doesn't work for them, and it won't work for everybody. You know, Jesus said that he gave that issue of divorce because man's heart was hard. So, you know, if you protect your heart and don't allow it to become hard when your spouse has an affair, then it's possible that you can move forward and you can have a better marriage. I have worked with couples in the past who have, you know, had their marriage survive and they're better now, and that's great. If that's for you, it's great. If you want to restore your marriage, I just want you to know that there's hope. If you are an unfaithful woman, I just want you to know that there's hope that you can come out of this and come out better. You know, it's all a perspective. It's not about why did this happen to me? Why did I choose this path? It's about what can I learn from this choice I made and how can I not make this choice again. So guys, that is my story that I wanted to share with you. I wanted to make sure everything was clear, that you guys understood that once, after probably maybe in 2018 is when I went to school to be a coach, because I knew I wanted to teach you, and it has been 10 years since my affair, and there has not been any more affairs, and there will not be any more affairs. I really believe that I'm completely healed and I'm no longer in that place, and I don't want that life anymore. It doesn't have anything to offer me. So I want you to know that I'm doing better, and I want you to know that you can do better too, that you can come out of this, that there is so much hope and so much potential for you. And I'm here for you. I'm rooting for you. You are not alone. There's someone who is believing in you and praying for you to come out of this a better person. If you have any questions, please leave them down below, and be on the lookout, because I have a video coming up for you guys with me and my husband. We want to, you know, just share some tips and stuff with you guys, and where we're at 10 years later post-affair, and what's going on with us, and what marriage is really like after you have an affair, because that is a big question. Like, what is marriage like? So we want to come on here and give you some hope together so that you can be encouraged. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have for you today. I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye.